Hi, I'm Kurt Vonnegut. I'm looking for
Ryan Stone.
What's that? Fuck me. Hey, Kurt, you read lips. Fuck you!
Hey, what's going on, fellas? We're talking movies, we're talking stories. Who doesn't love it? I have to be careful. So first off, cussing in like the first 30 seconds, probably not cool. Secondly, I've gotten the DMCA sometimes picks that up. Even though I've edited it heavily, they sometimes pick it up. But welcome, we're doing Ohrian. We're chatting about like Aeon Flux, and it's the whole period. I'm gonna oh dude. I'm going to go hard on this. I just love this stuff. Anyways, hey, Wapiti, it's good to see you. Douglas, good to see you. And Boss, Softbone just ordered in paperback. Kids coming over tonight for an Akira watch party. Dude, that's some good parenting you got there. Sit down, kids. We're watching Akira. That's cool. At least you started with Akira. Too many dates to keep up with. New Kowloon ain't so bad on the other side of being zeroed out. If you know, you know. You're going to love it. Honestly, if you haven't read it yet, you will. Here. I've got a few copies yet. I've mailed. So there's been a bunch of people that have like helped me, even though they don't know they did for a lot of them. Some helped me directly, like Nick, obviously, Kirsten. Some people don't know they did. It's just like John from Work City. Maybe it's how their media acts. Maybe it's sometimes like a kind word. Maybe it's sometimes something with their writing style I liked. So I like to kind of like give back a bit. And it's like the least I could do is like, sign copies. Like, dude, thank you so much. It's the least I could do. And I sent it off to them. They've gone as far and wide as like Saudi Arabia. So it's pretty cool. All the way around the world. Anyway, Softbone. Hardcover. I went hardcore with the red on here to give it. I was like, I can do red and green without making it look like a Christmas book. I know I can do this. And so I did it. Yeah, if you haven't read it yet, go give it a read. It's not between that and Dog Walker. Having said that, I didn't know this. I didn't notice this. It's been out for about a month now. So it came out August 1st. It's what, August 30th today? What's the day? Yeah, it's the 30th today, so tomorrow. Was not expecting this. I'm like, with a male audience, I have a sci-fi cyberpunk dystopia and a contemporary slice of life fiction. Which one do you think would do better? I figured it would have been Softbone. Turns out Dogwalker actually did a lot better. So more guys enjoy reading the slice of life, like dating fiction stuff, like literotica, I guess. I mean, it's not, but I don't know what else to call it. Than they did Softbone. I don't know what to make of that information. I still enjoy it, and the sequel to Softbone is coming out, but there's also going to be a sequel to Dogwalker. And then there's going to be a third one, which is like a Western. Mars-based space Western kind of shit. But I just like the theme on that one. And then, of course, there's always short stories coming out, so that'll be pretty fun. What can I say? I love telling stories. I love reading stories. Wapiti finished the Dog Walker. It's entertaining. Yeah, dude, that's like I said, at the end, I think a lot of the audience was expecting, like, narrative, like it's like a help manual, right? It's like, no, it's entertainment. You're meant to read it and enjoy it. It's just that the themes that I've used with it are ones you will recognize from my nonfiction work. So like Firefly, if I had to compare it to something, I think it's still in like outline stages, so it could change drastically. But in my head, what I pictured for like the space Western was something closer to, do you remember that Muse music video, Knights of Sidonia? Or Space Quest like 2? That kind of vibe. Or like 1970s Doctor Who aesthetics, that sort of thing. It's hard to explain and articulate. It's like a 70s science fiction themed story, but a Western. But it's set in space. And that's one thing I've kind of learned is when it comes to genre is just wrapping paper. The stories are all fairly consistent. Like I Come in Peace. That's the one. There's a new video on Brian Benben that's coming out on tomorrow on this channel. How Brian Benben is the actual hero of I Come in Peace and it's not Dolph Lundgren. But when you look at that story, yeah, it's a science fiction buddy cop movie. It's like, yeah, that's just window dressing. What is this ultimately? It's a story about a guy learning to trust himself and stop trusting the system. Guy got fucked over by the system. The guy learns to be a man. It's almost a coming of age story. Aeon Flux is the one, and the reason I'm talking about that one today is because it's such like it's so different that it does the same thing that Cowboy Bebop does. And you wouldn't think about it when you first watch it, but it defies genre. It makes a show that let's make it outside of every genre synthesis we can think of. Predator, same thing. You think of Predator as some crazy action movie, but it's got aliens. Maybe it's a crazy science fiction movie. It's technically a horror movie. It's a movie about... it's technically a horror movie. Because it's the same thing. Replace Arnold, Jesse Ventura, and the boys, and Carl. You replace them with a bunch of teenagers at a summer camp, and you replace Predator with Jason Voorhees. It's the same fucking movie. It's the same movie. Hey, Nick, it's good to see you, sir. That's awesome. Yeah, glad to hear. Is this all Whammon audience? Completely new one. I don't know. Whoever's here is whoever's here. It's fine. To be fair, there's actually like a business reason for this. So like, this one's a little off topic before we get into Aeon Flux, but watching, like my channel is essentially flatline. It's been flatlined for a few years now. And my thoughts is it's red pill stuff. And the red pill stuff is not trending anymore. So a lot of neckbeard, or not of rubbernecks aren't going to be there anymore. At the same time, I think there's a peak level of audience unless you want to start getting into Whammon bad, open the jar of pickles, give her a White Claw and start yelling at her content, right? Which I'm not going to do. It's not my thing. I see your thing with PD. I'll talk about that in a sec. Anyway, so it's kind of done its thing. It's not growing. It's not stagnating. It's stable and it's loyal. And that's good. So I'll still do videos for that. But I think I'm going to change the business side of it because YouTube's kind of dying off anyway too. Where I'll probably retool my Patreon for if you guys want videos for this thing. We'll build up like a Patreon thing. And then depending on how popular that gets and how much guys want to, I don't want to say donate, but how much interest they invest into there, then it'll be like, okay, so there's like a huge burst of traffic of guys that want videos and this stuff. So maybe I'll start doing some videos there. But as it stands, I'm probably going to be putting more focus on the books and the Substack, then here, and then the main Red Pill channel. Because it's just, yeah, it's one of those things. Rolo and I were talking about it, and we always have like, our business project has always been about expand, try a whole bunch of new different things, burn yourself out for like 6 months to a year, and then reflect back, look back, which ones are good use of your time, which ones are bad use of your time, which ones resonate with the audience, which ones make good money, which ones don't, and then start cutting stuff aside, right? The reason I spend Saturday afternoon in the UK watching this is because it isn't ranting stuff. I'm so glad to hear, man. Because it's tempting. It's tempting to sit here and just bitch. There's actually this guy on Twitter now. Aaron Clary connected me to him. And I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. Oh, a second here. He's talking about the Roar Squad. Oh, but damn it. The weekend, they always fill it up too much. Anyways, he's kind of like a MGTOW guy. Not really getting laid in that. He's doing really good, though, on his channel. It's already blown to like 25,000 subscribers in a year. He makes $4,000 a month just on the live streams and super chats, and he's bitching about how like YouTube's cutting him off. I was like, dude, this reminds me of that book I was talking about on the last podcast where this chick was like, yeah, I got cancel culture this, and they're attacking me for this, and I'm not POC enough for traditional public. Now I'm stuck to like selling 100 books a week. I was like, fuck you. Like, these people have no idea. There's been a few of those storytellers that don't know how good they have it and completely flip it. There's another one too. It's a TikTok girl. My girl's a fan of hers. We've actually met her in real life. She's a very nice person. She's very popular on TikTok, and she usually tells stories. She lives in Toronto, just down the way. And she was telling this story about how she accidentally created like a pop band. She broke up with her boyfriend and wrote a bunch of songs, made a record, put it onto Spotify, and then started touring, got picked up by Prozac, got a record deal right away. And then, she just kind of, pandemic happened. She's like, well, that's done. And I was like, dude, Do you know how many like super talented songwriters are out there that bust their ass for years, just never get the attention that they deserve, and this chick's just like walked into it. And now she's like, no, I just sell 100 copies a week, and the royalties of that are basically funding my TikTok career. And I was like, thank you, Raymond Thoughts and Minds. That's the guy. I'm not sure how to take it either, because it's not professional jealousy. I'm perfectly, like, entertainment's one of those things, there's never going to be a full market. There's always more room for somebody to come in. There's always more attention. We're never going to hit that peak. AI might be able to hit that peak, but that's only because it can do infinite amount of whatever. So I watch, and you see these people that are just like being given the gift of early success. And they're very flippant with it, which I think is probably why. But anyways, what does this have to do with Aeon Flux? This is exactly what it has to do with Aeon Flux. I originally thought it's a show that came out on MTV. Back in the day, MTV used to be one of the best places for animation. Beavis and Butthead, Aeon Flux, a whole bunch of different shows came out, and it was like really, really good at it. Alex Winters used to do great sketch comedy. If you remember him, he's the Bill and Ted, the Keanu Reeves, Alex Winters. The entire MTV radical aesthetic was Alex Winters stuff. His best movie, which I'm due to do on the channel here, is Freaks, which is impossible to find. I think somebody finally put it up for free on YouTube, but you can't download it. You can't find it on streaming. You can't get a DVD. There's old VHSs and stuff's there. Hey, what's up, Jack? It's good to see you, sir. But yeah, and then the reason the stuff was all good is people, and it wasn't that same attitude of people who just started out, found some success instantly, and then were very flippant about it and kind of threw it away because they didn't learn to appreciate it because they never had to work for it. Not saying they don't work hard, but they never had to work hard for a sustained enough period to understand the struggle, to appreciate it. I think that's the best way I can put it. So it turns out the guy who did it was Peter Chung. I think Peter Chung did Aeon Flux. And I was like, that's cool. What else has he done? And then you look, he did Rugrats. You're like, oh, I think Rugrats was it after or before? I think it was before. Hold on a sec. I got to pull this up. Rugrats was about the same time. So 1991. I think Aeon Flux was 1990. 9 seasons. Jesus Christ. But like, was he just a one-hit wonder? And it's like, no. Turns out he was working with Frank Frazetta and Ralph Bakshi. Fire and Ice. Remember Fire and Ice? The rotoscoping pinnacle of the Bakshi years. It's no Fritz the Cat. It's no Coontown. It's no... Actually, I guess Cool World would have been the pinnacle. But yeah. So anyways, you got Coontown, Fritz the Cat, American Pop, The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings. Well, 2 of the Lord of the Rings anyway. And all of these rotoscoping cartoons came out, and they were just bam. And then Fire and Ice. Oh, the epic fantasy adventure. It was fucking amazing, too. It was just so good. Today, I am surprised that... I can't remember the name of the guy right now, but he had like the wolf's fucking thing over his as a headdress. And he had some weird like berserker powers. It's just one of the best. I'd put him up there with Conan the Barbarian. He just never got his moment in the sun. And then, of course, Cool World with Brad Pitt and... was it Pam Anderson? No, Kim Basinger. Roger Rabbit. Like, it really did. And then it just, after that, just died off, which sucks. So it was such a American animation that wasn't Disney, was just amazing. And they weren't restricted like Disney was. It should be as big now as anime is. And it's just not. And it drives me nuts. There's a 1932 version of Freaks. I highly doubt that, unless it was like completely different. Because Freaks is a very contemporary plot. Anyways, so Aeon, and I was like, okay, so he used to work with Bakshi. And so he learned from guys and like the age in that. So it's like every overnight success always has 10 years of work behind him, right? He didn't just jump into this thing and do well. And he was doing Rugrats, and he hated how restricting it was. So he wanted something that had no restriction, which is like, it's ballsy too. It's ballsy because I've told you this before. When my first college degree was in art history, and one of my classes was painting. I've told this story 100 times, so I don't know if I've told it too much here, but I remember once, just for an example, the teacher told us right in the beginning, he's like, here's paint something. And for like a 2-hour lab class, we had to do a painting in acrylics, something like that. We didn't know what to do. Everybody stared at their picture for like an hour. And then it always ended up girls would draw horses, guys would draw cars, and then one weirdo would draw a giant eyeball and paint that, and that's all we had. And everybody looked the same, and it was just ridiculous. And then the next week for lab, he would like give us restrictions. Make it heavy chiaroscuro, impressionist style landscaping, dirty, rotten fruit, whatever. Try to draw chrome. If you ever wanted to know why the Northern Europeans love putting chrome in their paintings, it's because it was a big flex. I can paint chrome. Fuck you, talentless hack. Oh, gotcha. Freaked and Freaks. Oh, I know which one you're talking about. You're talking about the one with that they always have the dinner table with a bunch of the fucking weird looking people. But they were like actual freaks. It wasn't makeup. I know the one. Anyway, so, what was I just talking about? Animation, Aeon Flux. Oh, 10 years of success. Yeah. So he built up all this stuff and he wanted no restrictions. So it's super ballsy. So with Aeon Flux, he's like, let's just throw out all kinds of stuff. Like one of the funniest things when you watch, it was originally, I think just, hold on a sec. Let me check my notes here. You have notes for your podcast? Yeah. I know it sounds a bit rambly, but I'm surprisingly prepared. Well, why didn't you memorize it? Shut up. Work, recording, Aeon. Yeah, the first season, 1991. Just the one. So 1982 was the first one. 5 episodes, 5 shorts. And they did a third season, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 half-hour series. But the one I focused on in the last was just the pilot episode, 11 minutes. And they established a couple things, and this is the part that I love about it. So, a story is a series of scenes in the same way that a book story is a series of sentences and paragraphs and chapters, right? So think of scenes as chapters. And in each scene, you need to have things happen. You have to have a way to transition between this from the scene previously to the scene afterwards. That's one thing that needs to happen. And then depending on where you are in the story, sometimes you need to establish the stakes, establish the setting, set up a Chekhov's gun for foreshadowing for later, a payoff on something that was previously set up, a character feature, something that lets you know something about the characters. Maybe there's an important revelation you need to make. There's all these little things, and you can put them in anywhere and everywhere, but they need to be there. Otherwise, you don't have a story. You have a jumbled mess. And even the chaotic, even like Dead Leaves and chaotic shit like that, or Crank, the structure and the story is there. But what I loved about this is little things. Like, he decided main character gets to die. And what happens next week? Bring her back, whatever. Let's make the main character not the main character. Because at the end of the pilot, Aeon Flux dies. And it's not like, oh, maybe she survived. No, she fell to her death. They show the scene. They have somebody remotely blow up the body. And then what happens the next episode? Aeon's back doing her thing. How the fuck did that happen? They're like, don't worry about it. I love that. It's like the absolute opposite of like autists. Absolute autists. Hold up a sec here. Absolute autists love for everything to be hyper realistic and make perfect sense and have no inconsistencies whatsoever, right? You can't triple stamp a double stamp, Lloyd. Itchy and Scratchy played 2 ribs and it clearly had 3 notes. Do you want to explain that? It's like stupid shit like that, and it just shows they don't know what they're doing. They just want jangling keys on a mobile. You know those mobiles, kids, when you put it over their head, it's like a little chandelier. Jangly, flashy lights, shit like that. That's what they want. They don't want to watch Star Wars as a cinematic, as a movie, as a story. They want to see blue lightsabers are from the crystals of Oregon, and the green lightsabers are from the crystals of Morgoroth. And he wasn't in Morgoroth because he was at Tatooine. And like, shut the fuck up. And so this guy kind of goes the complete opposite. He's like, you know what? Fuck those autists. I am going to make things absolutely happen that have no plot consistency whatsoever, but it works within the self-contained story. It works when you suspend disbelief. It's the anti-autist storytelling. And it's the funniest thing ever in that by being anti-autist, it looks like very disjointed, but you have no problems following it. So if you haven't watched the video, go watch it. It's not doing well on here, which is fine. It's Aeon Flux. It's a 30-year piece of IP that nobody has thought about, so I get it. It's better off if I do Dolph Lundgren or some other like Reddit tier ironic, oh, I love watching these movies. Like, no, you don't, but fuck, I'll take your view. It's not about underrated films. It's about good films. It's about good stories. And it's not necessarily just films. I've done an episode of Deep Space Nine, and I'm doing Aeon Flux, which is not a movie either. So it's mostly just, it's about storytelling. It just so happens it's mostly about underrated films, because the popular ones, there's so many people who've already done things on them. I didn't feel like my initial efforts would be good if I do another video on the one that everybody's seen before. So yeah, Aeon Flux is not a movie, but it is a great story. So yeah, but that's what I mean. So like, they kill Aeon. I think almost every episode, if you watch it, Aeon dies. Like, I think in the first or in the second season, you watch this one scene is where she has to assassinate somebody on a plane. And she jumps out of the plane to crawl around, go backwards. And she's going to sneak into the back end of the plane and kill the guy. But she slips and she falls. And then as she's falling, she sees a bunch of guys doing something at the bottom of a canyon. And so she's watching, it's like, what the fuck are they doing? And they're pulling something up. It's like a very, very big puzzle. And eventually, just when they pull up what it is she's been watching this whole time in a big tension building scene, she falls too far to be able to see it. She shoots her gun and like flies off a thing. And I think she ends up dying at the end of that one too. And then next week she's back. There's even one where she clones herself and then kills the original, and the clone takes over as like some part of convoluted plan. Like, they don't even give a shit. And then they change the main character. So often, like in the pilot, the one I'm talking about here. And there's a whole bunch of scenes to go through, and each scene does its own individual task. Like, this scene sets up the thing, but the really clever way they do between scene and scene, they establish that this world isn't just Aeon's story. She's not the main character. You know, main character syndrome? There is main characters everywhere. So in one scene, there's a bunch of like random guards. She's just mowing through them, right? Just blah, 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 killing hundreds of people. And then they stop and they give you a little vignette of a couple, soldier, husband and wife. The husband got shot. The wife's trying to keep his head above water, above the bloody water so he doesn't drown. He's hallucinating because of some weird virus. Then Aeon just walks through, shoots her too. She fucking dies. And you see, it's like, dude, this was the Notebook, science fiction Notebook. There was a story there. There was a whole animated series based on these two random extras in this thing. And it was just a footnote. Like, she didn't even pay. She didn't even notice. She just fucking, bam, done. Runs off. Next scene. When they establish there's some virus that's attacking people in the first one. In the second one, they showed that there is an antidote. And these people are desperate for it. You see this, like, somebody who's dressed similar as her, but as a guy, fighting one of those guards again. And you realize, dude, this is an action hero in his own thing. That's crazy. So he beats up the guard, and then he starts doing some kung fu stuff to steal the case from Aeon. Aeon just shoots him. And it's like, wait a minute, isn't this one of the guys on her team? Turns out there's like two cities, and they're always fighting amongst each other, right? But yeah, she doesn't know who the fuck he is. There's a mission somewhere out there that this guy was meant to do. He was an action hero. He probably has a whole series, and then Aeon's just like, pulls an Indiana Jones thing, right? Where he does all these kung fu moves, and she's just like, bam. Then the guard, who's like, he has his chance to get the antidote and finally cure himself. She doesn't care about it. She just dumps it out. She's like, I'm not here for this. Fuck that. She puts a grenade in it, throws it by. The guy goes to chase, and it blows him up. Again, another story. There are so many examples of this. There's 500 people with own individual stories. And at the end, this is the part I love. At the end, she ends up stepping on a nail at some point, but she has to crawl on her knees to get up to the main area to assassinate what she's there to do. And then just as you find out the mystery of this virus that's killing everybody, what's happening, what caused it, The main villain in this guy is a guy called Lovejoy, but you don't know that at the time. You just see he's a guy who's always floating around doing his own little thing. So he's got his own story going on. He's not even a villain in her story. He never actually attacks her at all. He doesn't know she exists. But he's kind of played up as the villain. So she steps up, the nail punctures her foot, and she screams, she falls, he dies. Bam, dies, blows up, her apartment gets burned to a crisp, they wipe her off the map, right? Now, all of a sudden, the main character is this Lovejoy guy. He turns out he manufactured a virus, spread it throughout the population, sold the vaccine to fix it, and became a hero. They put his face on the money, and now he's the main character. He's got a family that loves him. He's got statues put up in effigy. Kids are using his money to buy porn and smut. And it turns out the apartment of Aeon Fluxes was like, why is there a camera in the middle of this place? Turns out she was doing smut porn, tickle fetish shit. So it's like OnlyFans model by day and by night assassin, which is kind of cool. But you see what I mean? That like lets you know there's like all this rich world stuff, and they don't just feed you a bunch of exposition with a 20-page long narrative monologue read out or soliloquy or something like that. You find out stuff like basic character stuff at the very end. Oh, she's a porn star. She's a smut peddler. Interesting. She's already been dead for like 2 minutes, but whatever. Yeah, plot irrelevant villain. But that's the part that I love about it. He's like, yeah, let's just kill main characters. Let's change the main character. All of a sudden, we're going to stop it being her. She's going to die here. And it's not because of some character flaw, like a tragic arc would be. It's not some character arc of somebody else. Sometimes just shit happens. And they make it a meaningless inconsequentialism thing, but at the same time, they still stick to story. Because when she dies, she doesn't just disappear. She ends up being transported to some weird other dimension. It's like, is it heaven? Is it hell? You don't know. You can kind of inject whatever you want. Death of the author. Whatever you want it to mean is what it is. Whatever it looks like to you. And she ends up being in it like weird robes, and she's put down in this magical chair. A blue alien comes out of the ocean. He's got a tongue with 30 tongues on it, and he's just licking her feet in eternity. So like, is that a bad ending for her? She went from some cyberpunk dystopic world full of terror and murder and a deadly virus, and now she's in some place having her feet tickled by 100 tongues for the rest of her life. Sounds like a good ending. What did she do to earn that? She didn't earn that. She stepped on a nail and fell off. But you're like, oh, well, she got her happy ending. That's nice. We've come to associate with this character for the longest time, and now she should get her comeuppance. Then Lovejoy, the main villain, same thing. He gets his solution. He fixes the world. He pulls a Ozymandias and saves the world. Kills a few, but saves a billion. Everybody has a happy ending, and at the end of it, you're just left like, what the fuck did I just watch? The kid bought porn. He's happy too. He leaves. He's running off. Everybody wins. What the hell just happened? Oh, dude, it's... And you know what the best part about this is too? It's 11 minutes. It is the most compressed story I think I've ever seen. It's an animated short. It's just fucking great. And that's just the pilot. Like, they carry on. I think is it season 2 was one of the ones I liked? Yeah. Season 2, again, they add some more of these little things. And one of my favorites was this one. They call it The Tide. And it's a great self-contained story. So in this one, Aeon is in an elevator on the 6th or 7th floor of this building. Lovejoy is handcuffed to a bar. She's trapped him there, and she's interrogating him for something. You don't know what it is, but he's playing tough, and she's punching him, whatever. And there's a girl with her that's there to help her. The elevator doors open. She goes running outside to an elevator. She has to shoot a bunch of people that are trying to come down the stairs after her. She runs into an elevator door, or into a closet door, sorry, and it's empty. And then she runs down and she shoots. There's this little rope with a little plug, and she shoots at it, and it's trying to land in a hole in the ground on the first floor. What the hell was that? But now that they shoot it, it loses its orientation, has to come back up and try it again. She goes in the elevator. Now, through the series of it, you find out, the chick that's with her actually is turned on by Lovejoy, and she's trying to sleep with him. But every time Aeon comes back, she has to pretend she didn't. Lovejoy has a key that she's trying to get from him, or like a card. And he kind of throws it behind some things. She has to hunt it. Goes down to 5th floor. Door is empty. Shoots the thing. Goes in there. And everything kind of escalates. She always shoots things. She always does this until eventually she gets to like the second floor. And then the second floor, she finally gets the card that Lovejoy had, and it had, or the third floor, sorry. She goes to the second floor, and it says 2 on it. She goes, oh, so the second floor is what I'm looking for. She beats up the chick. She's like, fucking stop trying to release him and whatever. And then the chick gets mad, pushes Aeon, bangs her head off of a piece of hunk of metal. She ends up cracking her head open, passed out, probably dying and bleeding out on the floor. So then the other girl runs out to the second floor, grabs it. Is like this weird case in the closet. She takes it, runs back with the thing to Lovejoy, and then she opens it up, and it's just a big rubber plug. And she's like, "What the fuck is this?" So she throws it out. She's like, "That's not what I wanted. I'm here for like money or something, right?" And then you look back, that whole time that Aeon was there, she kept shooting that little plug that was sitting on the thing, and then finally you realize what it does. It latches onto the bottom, pulls out a plug, and the whole building falls down. So the whole point of the plug was to keep the building from falling down. It's like such a really clever animation. And again, Aeon dies in it. She's the main character. She dies in it. Plot rate purposes. It's not a happy ending. Everybody drowns. But it's just like it's such a good story. They're really good at building tension. They use repetition and then removal of the repetition to get you to like invest in the story. It's just so much fun. There's another one too. I think it's Gravity. Hold on a sec. Oh no, Gravity is the one about the falling down one. That's not what I'm looking for. Mirror. Actually, the whole second season is really good. Yeah, Mirror, Gravity, Leisure, Tide, and War. War was the fun one. That's the one. Yeah. War, I think, is the best example for this. I'm probably going to do another Aeon Flux video of just this one. So if you watch War, and if you remember what I talked about before, how there's like 500 stories in the middle of this story, and everybody's got their own stories going on, and they're just like a blip in other people's. When you watch it, it's the two cities are having a war amongst each other. And Aeon walks up, murders a bunch of people, does some things. She ends up getting killed by some other guy. Then that guy starts having his adventure going back. It's like a big capture the flag, Call of Duty, like Unreal Tournament kind of thing. And he ends up coming back, and like every character, like Aeon Flux is like this badass bitch with a gun and backflips and whatever. She gets killed by this guy randomly. Then that guy turns out to be a badass. Oh, he's like super acrobatic. He slides down the hill. He slides on the bodies of other people. He's mowing people down left and right. Then some weird swordsman deflects his bullets with a sword and kills him. And then he runs back, and he's like the hero in the story. And then he gets murdered by some other guy who he and his girlfriend are like the killers du jour. And it's just like this series of main characters doing this big heroic push, getting killed in some inconsequential way, and then other people coming in there. It's not like it's like a Tarantino movie in the sense that you can tell they were inspired by a lot of the classics, but they put them together in a way that is altogether unique. That's like the good thing about it. Yeah, and there's like 5 main characters in that one, and you watch it, and in each one of them you get invested in. You're like, dude, I would watch a cartoon from that blind swordsman. I would watch a cartoon from that blonde-eyed, blue-haired champion. I would watch a one with this couple that's walking around, and they all just keep running up there, getting killed, and the other one runs back. And and the plot makes no sense other than like, why are they fighting? What are they fighting over? They go MacGuffin heavy on it. But it's just there to realize, like, yeah, like there is every character in this story is a main character in their story. And the main character in this story died off 5 minutes in. And I just fucking love that shit. It's little things like this too. And this is what I'm kind of trying to get at here when it comes to like storytelling in general. The part about it I love the most, and I wish more people did it in movies and when you watch it yourself, where it's the creator, the storyteller, the director, the actor, the writer, whoever, the animator, they understand storytelling so well that they can break the rules in such a way that still follows the rules. It's clever. It's not clever in the way that like Slop is clever. You know, clever, like when you see that Sherlock Holmes TV show And Sherlock just out of his ass was like, well, I saw you had a nick in your thing and did thing. They even, like, Peter Holmes even made a parody of it. Where he would like, I saw these disjointed things here, and because of that, this is the thing. And the guy's like, no, actually, it's just, I just have a drinking problem. That's why all this stuff happens. He goes, oh, well, never mind then. There's even a 4chan thing on it where, like, what do clever people do? And clever people do things that make sense, but aren't obvious on the first watch, but on the second watch or the second read. Oh, if you knew what to look for, you would have known what it was. And so you could technically, if you're smart enough, you can see what happens. They put out the breadcrumbs for you perfectly. What stupid people think smart stuff is people who have magic omniscience. And that's one thing that's just great about Aeon Flux. And the movie never captured it. Was that the guy was really good at breaking the rules in a way that was clever. You followed everything. You didn't think anything of it. To you, it looks like some jumbled mess. But you're like, oh my God, that whole thing makes sense now. And you have to watch it a few times, and that's fun. That's fine. I wish they still made stuff like this. They don't. Like I said, the closest analog I can think of to Aeon Flux is Cowboy Bebop. Because when you watch that show, and I'm probably going to do a retrospective on that too. When you watch Cowboy Bebop, you realize it has a lot of the same themes that Aeon Flux does. Like Spike Spiegel's the main character. But it's not a happy ending, and it's not a sad ending. A lot of the times the endings just happen. Like the first episode, where they find those guys that are stealing that weird eye medication stuff, and the pregnant chick is there with her boyfriend. Spike's trying to get his, like, he's trying to struggle to get his thing. He's not even the main character of the first episode. That chick is the main character, the pregnant chick. She ends up having to kill her boyfriend because he's getting them. He's doing too much. He's like, yeah, I'm tired of running. So she kills him. Cockpit explodes. They all get shot up and die. Spike loses his thing. He ends up right where he started. It's actually one of the Vonnegut 6 types of stories. And it's the one I think he uses Hamlet as his example of the nothing ever happens story. Nothing changes. Nobody learns anything. Real life doesn't have ups and downs, and we don't know how important they are at the time. And he always talks about those being the best kind of stories. He goes, that's why Shakespeare was so goddamn good. It's a great lecture on stories if you ever want to see it. Kurt Vonnegut, 6 types of stories. Lecture with a chalkboard, you're going to love it. Yeah, there's probably somebody out there doing it. It just doesn't have the reach. Dude, if you find them, put it in a chat, put it into a comment. I will fucking cheerlead the shit out of that. I am starved for good. I am so starved for good storytelling that I started writing books. Like, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? But yeah, and it's like a really good episode of that too. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, Spike doesn't learn anything about himself. He doesn't have a character arc. Jet doesn't have a character arc. They're going through the thing. They're establishing the characters. They kind of do what I Come in Peace does. Their characters are unchanging serial action heroes. The sub characters, the villains, like they all have the arcs that surround them. And I love when they do. The Punisher was another movie that was great for doing that. Dolph Lundgren doesn't do shit as the Punisher. He doesn't grow. He doesn't learn. He doesn't develop. Nothing. There's no character arc. He is the Punisher. He is the force of nature. He is Deus Ex Machina. That is his character, Deus. Or Deus? Anyways, I'm not good with Latin. You've known. But who does have the character arc in that one? You're like, interesting. The villain. The mobster. Who, and I don't know if this was done on purpose. I really hope it is. So, Frank Castle is the Punisher. But Franco is the mafia boss. He ends up having the tragic character arc. So you're watching a Greek tragedy as a Canon Films Marvel slot movie. Yeah, wanted to like it, didn't get hooked. And I know it sucks Lundabon when I say it this way, but there's 2 ways to enjoy it. The first one is to watch the main plot, which does have an arc. And that starts like at episode 7. It's always a big ask when people watch anime shows. When you're like, it gets good after the first 7 hours. And you're like, what the fuck? Do I have to really? Like, you don't. But if you watch it in the same lens that you're watching Aeon Flux, I think you'll learn to appreciate it more. It does grow on you. But I would say if you really wanted to watch it and get hooked right at the start, I would say the best way to watch it as a self-contained thing, watch the first episode. Watch the one, I can't remember which episode. It's the one where Faye learns about her history. And I would say the one with the cowboy. But I'm hoping the cowboy one works if you don't know much about it, because no, I think it does. The cowboy's the best because it's kind of like Spike meets himself in the other character, and he hates him. And it's just so good. I should do a thing on that one too. It's like, it's probably my favorite episode is one with the cowboy, where he runs into himself and he understands now everybody hates him. He's like, dude, I am not like this guy. And you're like, you kind of are. Yeah, I think the comic book films are more interesting when the villain's the protagonist. Yeah. Anyways, oh yeah, back to the Punisher. Yeah, that's what I mean. So Franco. So he's Franco. He has his character arc where he's like the evil villain boss, but then the Japanese come in and they're taking over and they're killing everything. And so he has to basically hire he's like, dude, I need to get my son back. Look, I get you hate me. We're going to fight. We'll deal with this later. For now, these guys are stealing children. And I guess technically there's a bit of an arc where Frank has to realize his vengeance has like a penalty. It's like, dude, you've done so much work removing the mob that you've allowed the triads or the Yakuza to come in and steal children. Like, what the fuck? You gotta fix this. And he's like, all right, fix it. He doesn't really fix it though. They just hold his buddy hostage. Otherwise he'd been like, yeah, fuck him. And Franco goes through the whole movie and he kind of develops like a respect for Frank, and he learns, and he has his wants. He wants his son back, but what he needs to do is to stop being a criminal. If he stops being a criminal, he would have survived. But then at the end, his fatal flaw, hubris, and he tries to kill Frank, and that ends up getting him killed. And then his son has to take over the reins. It's like a really clever storytelling technique where the villain has the story arc. I don't think there's any movies I can think of, not off the top of my head, where the villain gets the character arc. And I don't think canon gets enough credit. They make a lot of like cheesy 80s films that everybody loves to hate watch, but it's like, dude, they were trying things you never would have seen. You would never see Marvel slop where they make, actually that's not true. An Infinity War, they made Thanos the main character, and if you've noticed, that's everybody's favorite Marvel movie. Everybody loves Marvel because of that movie. They think they like, oh, you loved no, you didn't love Iron Man 2. You didn't like Thor. You'd maybe liked Captain America, but the one you really liked, like the one you loved, was the fucking Avengers Apocalypse one, or the Infinity War. Because you watch the villain as the main character. Because the heroes are all heroes. They're just going to be heroic. They don't change. Captain America doesn't change. Bruce Banner doesn't change. Iron Man doesn't change. You know who changes? Thanos changes. I remember walking out when I was watching that one. I kind of had like a weird like gut feeling. I'm like, oh, like it was really good, but I just kind of felt, a malaise. And that's because they did their job well. And the Punisher did that one too. You just don't see that anywhere. I don't think American Ninja did that. Having said that, American Ninja, fair enough. Watching it in retrospect, I forgot what kind of movie that was. I was actually going to do that for one of my Ohrian films. But then when I watched it, I'm like, oh, this melodrama is not very good. The acting is wooden. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of like a Choose Your Own Adventure or a Hardy Boys book level of plot depth. Like, you think it's like some ninja battle movie. It's actually like a little melodramatic love story between Dudikoff and the general's daughter. And they throw just enough ninja stuff in there to keep you hooked. But the thing that gets me, and I totally forgot about this, I checked the box office on it. I'm like, oh my God, they spent like $800,000 on this movie. They spent fucking nothing. They got Timu Jim Kelly, Timu Jim Brown, Timu Jean-Claude Van Damme. Guy didn't even know karate, and they made him the ninja. But he had bright blue eyes. The villain was like Timu Big Trouble in Little China Lopan. And the thing made like $180 million off like an $800,000 budget. I was like, God damn, that's brilliant. Every one of the American Ninja movies made less. Like they would half their revenue every time. So it fell off pretty quick. But I sometimes forget that. Same with Rambo. Rambo 2 made more money than Rambo 3. Blows my mind when I think about that. First Blood did good. It did really good. It's like $1 million budget, $10 million recovery, something like that. I have to go look again. But then Rambo 2 had something like a $10 million budget and $180 million revenue. And then Rambo 3 had like a $100 million budget and $300 million return, so it didn't do as well either. Pirates of the Caribbean, Jack Sparrow, and Barbarossa. Actually, that might be. I haven't watched it in a while, so you might not be wrong. Actually, yes, good point. Empire Strikes Back. You're absolutely right. Empire Strikes Back. Vader is the main character on that one, for sure. Actually, no. The bad guy wins in that one. Return of the Jedi, Vader has a bit of a character arc, but it's a bit thin. But you know what? Fucking we'll add it. Why not? But you see what I mean? And look, there's a bit of a selfishness in me when I'm sitting here waxing prophetically about Aeon Flux and that. It's because I want you guys to write books. And in a case, I'm kind of training the audience to enjoy books like Softbone and The Dog Walker. I think we have done a huge disservice to my generation and the newer generations that have come after me, in that we have provided such shitty storytelling entertainment that people have forgotten how to enjoy a good story. And so I'm always hoping that by showing you guys what makes The Punisher good, what makes I Come in Peace good, why The Substitute is a fucking awesome movie. And it's not just because, yeah, beating the shit out of school kids is cool. It's not like, yeah, The Punisher has guns, that's awesome. It's like, no, there is technical things in here that just work. And they work everywhere. One of you guys, I don't know who it was, they said they were huge, they were like a fangirl. And they love my greasy popcorn takes on movies. And I was like, it's probably the best compliment I've ever received ever, which is awesome. But yeah, there's a greasy popcornness to it. And I get what she's trying to say. And it totally is right. Where the low brow is elevated to high art. Everybody thinks of high art. You think the opera. You think that. You're like, no. Shakespeare, absolutely the perfect example of lowbrow high art. Everybody thinks of Shakespeare as some high and mighty literary genius. Do you know that Shakespeare's stuff was like the equivalent of like fucking local theater? It was like bands playing in a pub. They were just theater for like the masses. It was for idiots, illiterate masses. Pay a penny, go to the movie theater, watch something. It was the Marvel slop of medieval Europe. Yeah, people are not writing for readers, especially men readers. And that's the thing, too. It's like, well, they are technically now, but they're doing it in a way that's horrible. Like when you dissolve people's ability to enjoy good stories, that's the stuff they're appealing to. And that's why for guy stuff, they're not writing good stories for men, male audiences. They're writing autism treatises. They're doing exposition for 45 minutes because kids want to know, tell me about the actuator on the ATAT and shit like that, right? They're basically being told like reading out a fictional technical manual, and that's supposed to be a story. And it's like, that's not a fucking story. That's somebody telling you how clever they are at world building. And that's the shit that guys are getting attracted to now. And then girls, they just like soap opera drama. And look, there's a place for soap operas, I get it, but now everything is just shitty reality TV soap opera because the kind of stories that would appeal to women, again, aren't being there. So as much as I want to say it's like women are holding men back and pull the whole misogyny thing here, that would be great, but it's not. It's just everybody is fucked in a different way. The difference is one group is being pandered to and the other group isn't. Have you seen the original Superman with Marlon Brando, Gene Hackman? Great example. Great example. When you watch a superhero movie with like 70s pacing that's slowed down, allowed to breathe, you'd be surprised how good it is. Now, granted, I'm always a fan of the Donner cut Superman 2. That's my favorite of the Supermans. But Superman 1 had a vibe to it. It's a movie that still holds up, which is very rare for comic book movies. Superman 1, Superman 2, Punisher. The Sam Raimi Spider-Mans 1 and 2, I think, do hold up well. The original Iron Man, out of all the superhero movies, I'd say the original Iron Man's the one that holds up well, because it's the one that's least cookie cutter. And then the Avengers Infinity War stuff is pretty good. But Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm trying to think of some older comic book stuff that might have worked. I haven't watched Toxic Avenger in like 20 years, so I don't know. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I don't know. Conan the Barbarian absolutely held up well. Not the Destroyer, but just the Barbarian. Red Sonja. Heavy Metal 1. Heavy Metal 2000, maybe. But definitely Heavy Metal 1. Held up. I'm just trying to think. Howard the Duck, I'd have to watch it again. I don't know. Yeah, Donner cuts superior. In the end, the son becomes the father, and the father's power becomes his. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's something I've talked about in Highlander 2, where I still think it's my favorite Highlander movie when everybody's like, fuck you, the original is perfect. Like, yeah, it is. But Highlander 2 is, and you see my kind of style. I love stuff that just plays with your expectations. Like, it's the Aeon Flux of the Highlander series. I have not seen it yet. It's on my to-do list. I don't watch new movies for at least 6 months. I wait for all the hype to die down, and then I'll go check it out. Because I'm not willing to watch 10 shitty movies for the occasional Barbie. Anyways, what was I just talking about on that one? The Donner cut. Cobra. Cobra's not bad. But Cobra... You know what? Let me watch it again. It's been too long. Because in my mind, I still picture slop, but... On a rewatch, I bet you I'll be able to point out like, oh my god, they actually did this really cleverly. So I don't know on the scale from RoboCop to like American Ninja where it falls on the scale of this was actually really good and I was not expecting that. So we'll have to see. Enter the Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja, Ninja 3. Oh, out of all the Ninja movies, I will admit, what was the new one called? Ninja Assassin? Deceptively good. It's like the Crank 2 high voltage of ninja movies, and I think that's wonderful. The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise, deceptively good for a ninja film. But yeah, ninja films, it's one of those things I'd have to watch. I'd have to go back and look through. I haven't really thought much about ninja films. Autism treaty should be a t-shirt. It's a great quote to encapsulate the slop soap continuum. I like that. I actually am going to take that term. I haven't done merch on this channel yet. The merch is never a big driver, but sometimes I just enjoy having things. Autism treaty, that might be on the first t-shirt that ever comes out for this channel. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know how to get people to enjoy stuff. I don't. The best I can do is just show you why I enjoyed it and articulate it as best I can and tell a story as to why. Because if I'm just sitting here ranting off a bunch of stats about it, it kind of doesn't do it justice either. Like, I won't get you into the Punisher by talking about, well, the character is fucking the actuator and the AT-AT. Like, that doesn't work either. But I also don't want to make it all about me, because it's not about me. It's about the story. So I can't say, do the thing they do for, like, recipes online. Where it's like, hey, I got a great new recipe for carrot cake. Yes, back in the day, my mom used to take me to the Hamptons, and we used to have an onion on our belt. And I'm like, that doesn't work either. Because then it's just me piggybacking off of somebody else's story with my own convoluted fucking self-insert. And I'm like, that doesn't work either. Deceptively challenging. If I figure it out, this channel will be 2 million subscribers by the end of the year. So here's hoping you guys join me on this journey and have some fun. Hoping anyway. And I always love too, it's like when you watch the movies, you don't think there's anything in common with I Come in Peace, Aeon Flux, The Punisher, and, you know, The Substitute. But when I show you, they actually are all the same. The villain is the main character. The villain has a character arc. The character is solid and stable the whole time. Everybody builds around him. The main character in this story is actually the sub-character. The sub-character in this story is actually the main story in this one. Brian Benben is the perfect example of the same thing I was saying with Aeon Flux. Aeon dies halfway through hers, and somebody else is the main character. Brian Benben is the main character of I Come in Peace, because he's the only one that grows and learns and becomes a hero. And they do. Like, it's coming out tomorrow. I don't want to spoil it, but my favorite part of that is like they nail the symbols, and you don't even think about it because they don't draw attention to it. It just happens. It's just matter of factly these symbols work out. So like his guns, perfect use of symbology. At the beginning, he's like I'm just a nerd. I follow the rules. I'm a good cop. I make more money than you. I'm awesome. He's insecure. He's a people pleaser, and he follows the rules, right? So what does he do the first time he gets into a gunfight? Pulls out a fucking Magnum, a dirty, hairy Magnum with a scope on it. You're like, what the fuck is that? He's like, Christmas gift. Bam! Shoots the Ferrari. And you're like, holy shit. This guy actually could know what he's doing. Thank you, madam. He could be a really good cop. And that's like, it's perfect in that they don't tell you, you have a chance of being a great cop if you just stop following the rules. Because it just tells you. And that's not fun. That doesn't anything for you. That's just you sitting there and taking slop. No, they show you. And you have to infer that yourself. Wow, this guy's a good shot. He's got a great gun. I got a great woman, by the way. Enjoy your coffee, guys. I heard about the Deathstalker one. I'm curious about it. But again, I don't want to commit to it yet. Yeah, he pulls out that gun. Oh my God, that's an amazing. He could be a really good cop if he just listened. And that was when he listened to Dolph Lundgren. So you see potential there. So when he eventually turns into the hero, it's not like, where the fuck did this come from? This shouldn't have happened. No, they show you. They set it up and then they pay it off. And then at the end, he gets the alien's gun. Instead of his Magnum, now he has like a super gun. And that's kind of his way of growing. Like, oh, he's growing. And it just so happens that the same time he gets it, he makes that character choice to give the gun to his boss in the FBI. His boss tries to kill him. Dolph saves him. And he has that moment of revelation. He cut off Darth Vader's hand. He looks at his own hand. He's like, nope, not fighting him. Fuck it. And he goes, I get it. Following the rules is going to get me killed. Let's do it your way. So they go and they fight the alien. And now he's got his better gun. So yeah, he's a good cop, but now he's a great cop. He's following Dolph. He's going into it. The alien shoots him, hits him in the blade, cuts his thing, cuts his arm. And when they get him back to the apartment, when they have to set up for the final fight, he gives him a new jacket. He's like, here's a leather jacket. He puts it on. He's like, hey, it fits. It's good. And he's got like this badass leather jacket now. And he's like, yeah, it was my jacket when I was 12. And you're like, oh, that's funny. You're as big as Dolph Lundgren was at 12 years old as a 40-year-old man, you idiot. But no, it's like they just humor there, but it's funny because Dolph Lundgren is like the super action hero. He has done 5 karate kicks and knocked out 8 people with them during the movie. He's shot 3 or 4 people. He's fought the alien twice and been the only guy to survive. Like, he's a tough bastard. So when he gives him the jacket, he's not going to be able to fit Dolph Lundgren's jacket. So they had to do the joke in there to make it work, right, for the story. Otherwise, it's like, I can't suspend disbelief that all of a sudden he fits Dolph Lundgren's jacket perfectly. And watching him walk around with like a jacket with the arms flipping out, it's going to be stupid. But you're like, oh, so now he puts on the hero's coat. So now he's got the hero's jacket, he's got the big gun, and he's going to go kick some alien ass. And that's when he's the hero. He wins. That's his character arc. He got his want, and he met his need, and he's now a better character for it. And then through they always have like an epilogue at the end when the character arc is completed where you get some catharsis because you see him settle into his new role as the action hero now. I mean, what does he do? First off, those guys, the yuppies try to attack him outside of his apartment. He's like, that's it. These guys are getting level 2. Blows the dudes away. Fuck you. Ba, 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 ba. Shoots the alien a couple times in the chest. His gun runs out of ammo. And that's when Dolph has to come and step in, right? He's like, he did good. Like, you know, he's still got more to do. He's not perfect. Honestly, I think that's the one thing they could have done that would have made I Come in Peace stand the test of time is actually make Brian Ben kill the alien and not Dolph Lundgren. But I don't think that would have worked at the time because nobody wants to see Brian Ben be the hero. They wanted to see Dolph Lundgren. So, you know, good enough. It's not perfect, but whatever. But Aeon Flux, they'll never give you that. And I love that about that. It's got like an unending, the war will always continue vibe to it. And they're not trying to tell you the story of Aeon Flux, the hero, the superhero. She's a bit of an anti-hero that way. And Lovejoy is the anti-hero in that other, and the anti-villain. And they're in this permanent war, and the characters die one day, and they're brought alive the next. And the fact that it's unchanging works in the same way that Dolph not being a changing character in both The Punisher and I Come in Peace is just wonderful because that allows you to do so much more. You get to watch the villain have a character arc. You get to watch the comedic sidekick get his character arc and grow and become a better person. And that's stuff you just don't see. And I love it, and I wish we could see more of it. And I don't know how to wax on more about it. I honestly don't know how it will happen. I do hope that the cries about AI is eventually going to take over filmmaking. Like, they won't. But part of me would really love if they could. Because there's actually... do you guys know who Joel Haver is? He's a guy on YouTube. He does like these weird rotoscoping things where he's like a video game character. And they're pretty funny. Like, what happens when you marry the princess in your story and then it's like 6 months later and he goes, yeah, she's got like 5 canned scripts. My marriage is actually kind of boring. I kind of want to go fight, but I've killed all the villains in the thing. And it's pretty funny. It's just showing like the outskirts of that. So he just like, what happens when you experience lag or when you run into like a speed runner, and it's like villains in like a Max Payne crime drama, but then the hero just starts teleporting everywhere and clipping through walls and stuff. Like, what the hell is this guy, a magician? It's kind of funny stuff, but he uses a tool on there, and I can't remember the name of the tool. He talked about it once in a video. I downloaded it. I actually play with it a little bit. It's kind of fun. It's an automated rotoscoping tool. And I'm like, dude, this, if people would start using this, it'll change everything. So what you do is you take animations. Like you could take a video of me just sitting here talking, moving my hands, whatever. You plug it into this software, and then you take a still image. You draw whatever you want to. You can make me look like a villain with horns and fucking things over here, put a big fiery background in front of me. And what it does is it uses its own AI algorithm to map the character you've drawn onto the character like you, and so it rotoscopes it, essentially. You got to play around with it because it gets jank, like opening and closing mouth, sunglasses, they kind of fuck it up sometimes. But it offers its own kind of jank to it, which is really cool. And I think I even put it on the channel here. One sec, I got to pull. Hold up a sec here. It'll be on my posts if I did. Turns out there's actually posts on this too, and they're all really clever. Hold on a sec. Denzel Washington, I don't watch new movies anymore. Lou Perez. By the way, if you haven't watched that, it's on Substack. Lou Perez, comedian. Turns out he's a friend of Dean Cameron, the guy who did Ski School. So we were talking about that and is making a ski school. Turns out he's got a couple buddies in Hollywood too that were the ones that wrote the new Naked Gun series. He's kind of sold me on it probably being a good movie, so I'm going to go and watch it. That's going to be pretty cool. But yeah, it was neat. A comedian, a good comedian too. He used to start with Bill Burr and stuff, and I'm like, dude, that is awesome. Getting to chat with him was like oh, there it is. Yeah, it was like the joy of my day. There it is, Spine of the Night. So I'm pretty sure, I don't know if these guys rotoscoped by hand or they used that AI tool. I think they used the AI tool, but they went out of their way to put the extra effort into not janking it. It's called the Spine of the Night. It's an epic fantasy tale, and they built it with rotoscoping. I don't know the plot of it yet, so I can't say it's going to be a great movie. But what I can say is it is... because they're using the Ralph Bakshi rotoscoping style of animation, I'm going to give it a shot. First chance I get. The art style is it's not my style. Like, I don't prefer it. I'd actually prefer something a little more gritty, but that's fine. I'm not going to quibble about that. Spine of the Night trailer, official Red Band. It's in my post. You guys got to see it. I think it'll be good. So I'm looking forward to it anyway. So that's it. This one is for me. There's a Rule Zero going on if you want to get into the other content. This with Jack Napier's. I can't link to it from here. I don't have it set up, but we'll be able to find you there. So do enjoy it. And dudes, if you haven't, go watch the Aeon Flux stuff. It's actually not bad. If you can get through the pilot and the first season, I think they're only like 10-minute episodes. One sec, let me double check. Oh, like 3-minute episodes. Yeah, what do you got here? 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Yeah, super short episodes. It's only in season 3 that you start getting the 45-minute ones, I think. Yeah, you start getting 22-minute episodes, so that's like half an hour with commercials. But the first 2 seasons, absolutely. Yeah, please do, Jack. That'd be nice. And I would say, like, if you really want to enjoy a movie on its own terms, you have to watch it more than once. The first time, just take it in. Don't try to analyze it. Don't try to look at characters this. Don't try to look at story that. Just watch it and watch it the way the guy intended to. Don't ask, like, well, what's going to happen here? No, you watch. He'll tell you if it happens later, and if it doesn't, whatever. Good stuff will always solve your questions. And then in the second watch through, that's when you start to notice things that you're like, oh, that's where the main character, that's where the plot, all that little egghead stuff that I've been talking about stories, that's when you go buy it. Did you ever see the Punisher short, Dirty Laundry? I liked it. I liked it too. The problem is, it's visually good, but it's not a good story. If you watch Dirty Laundry, it's just, I want to see the Punisher beat people up. It's no different than that scene in, the fuck was the Star Wars one? Rogue One or whatever they call it, the one where they have to go get the Death Star plans, and at the end there's like a scene where Darth Vader's running through a hallway cutting people up. It was that. It's pure fan service, which is not good storytelling, I don't think. But hey, as a fan, I like watching it. So anyways, that's it. I need to get an intro and an outro for this. I think that's on my to-do list. I also need to do an ad for Softbone. If you guys haven't, by the way, links in the description. Softbone. Cyberpunk dystopia. It's really good. The pace. The one thing I was surprised that people commented on was the pacing. I never bore the reader. I never add filler. I never waste the reader's time. And it was like one of the best compliments ever. It's like, yeah, dude, you read it the whole time and you're just comfortable following along at the pace the story gives you, which is awesome. You're going to absolutely enjoy it. And look, $10 for the Kindle. $10, 8 hours of enjoyment. Short of Minecraft, you're never going to find that kind of ROI of happiness versus dollar. Definitely worth. Give it a review. Goodreads, Amazon. Even if you didn't like it, if you can say why you didn't like it. Because I don't want people who don't like it to buy it. I don't want to waste people's time like that. And so if somebody is thinking about buying it and they see your review and you're like, yeah, I didn't like it because I was expecting this and it delivered this, or like there's a certain thing you like in stories that isn't there, and that person's like, yeah, actually, I kind of like that too, so I'd rather not. I would rather that. In an ideal world, only the people that like it would ever even think of buying it. And I'm unfortunately not a perfect marketer in that I can't give people enough information to be 100% certain about that choice. So there's that leap of faith thing. Well, consider yourself a cowboy. Which, by the way, I loved how that worked out. That was almost an accident. If you guys don't know what he's talking about, the cowboy with the K. So the story is set in a feminist dystopia city called Lab 126. It's probably San Francisco, but whatever. And then within it, there is a small VLAN city called New Kowloon. Kowloon Walled City. You get it? Because it's essentially a Kowloon Walled City. But they're just spread out on every little city because the infrastructure that's there creates Faraday cages. So it's the one place that the Eye of Sauron can't spy on you. These people go there and they live free. And because it's called New Kowloon, they have to call the people something. And the people get called cowboys and cowgirls with a K, like Kowloon. It just worked for me. I'm like, yeah, if you're gonna develop like a slang based on this world, that was probably what would happen. And then they kind of have a slang for the people outside of it in Lab 126. They call them either soft bones or Stockholms. Soft bones is because they have, hormone surgery when they're kids, so they don't develop good. They get osteoporosis in their 20s. So soft bones. It's like basically an N-bomb for those people. And then Stockholms is when the way they act, because they always defend femlaw, even though femlaw is oppressive. So you guys are always Stockholmed. Fucking soft bones. So it's good. And there's enough satire in there with enough heart from the main story of a character learning to be free and accept the consequences of his own actions and take charge in his own life that it'll keep you going throughout of it. It's a great book. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm going to take off. I know what I can do. Let's end on the preview. We already did the one. I'm going to do the preview for the Aeon Flux video. All right. Here it is. Catch you guys later.
I am what some people would call an exennial. I had older siblings. I am a millennial, but I grew up on Gen X culture. German existentialism, mixed with Rush, Nine Inch Nails, and Guns N' Roses, shaped my world. Born too early to be a Funko Pop-loving Redditor atheist, born too late to be a heavy metal, mad, cracked, and ad-busters connoisseur. I watched Japanimation. I loved Frank Frazetta and Ralph Bakshi. I read Ninja Turtles and Conan the Barbarian comics. That rugged individualism and angst made a generation of cynical, untrusting children.